Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to Top Tier Talk. It's the first episode of the transfer roundup. Busy summer so far, and it's 3rd of July now. Poch just joined Chelsea, but we're going to start with Arsenal. Arsenal so far have signed. Am I right in saying they've
Rice.
right? Is that fully done now? Is
Well,
that the here we go
you might as
or
well.
not?
If you get
Yeah.
here we go, that's the
Okay.
transfer done.
Okay, that one. Firstly,
Havertz.
the Havertz, yeah, another one, and Urin Timber. They're the three,
Soon.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you guys think of them signings? Let's go with Declan Rice first, because remember Man City were like flirting with getting involved with that fake bid with any Luco being right and everyone giving him a lot of hate and stuff. But what do you not think? Declan Rice for 105 million, is it? Is that what it is with add-ons?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But again, West Ham still wanted more, didn't they? So I think they've done well to get him at that price. I also
I
think the
don't think
man
they wanted it more. They wanted it in
all in
because they
one go,
wanted it in
like wanted different. Sorry,
wanted
like
it in like
yeah,
a short
lump
time
sum.
frame.
Yeah, I think also Man City. They don't need Rice. Rice wouldn't be. I don't think he'd be dumb. He'd be dumb to go there. Sorry, because you look at what happened to Phillips. Like Rice still wouldn't get ahead of Rodri. It's like, does he play the Gundogan role, but he's not the role he's used to playing? You can't play him next to Rodri because then you lose a midfielder. City don't need to play defensive football, so then it sort of just
Yeah,
it
they've just
negates
signed
that.
Kovacic
Yeah,
as well. They got Kovacic in the
yeah.
AOL as well. But Chavez, what do you think? Declan Rice, 100 and we'll say around 100 to
Yeah.
120 million around that. Do you think it's a massive overpayment because Caicedo is still available for around 80 to 90, isn't he? Do you
No, I
think
think
Declan?
he's proved himself in the last year. There was a time where I remember Rice used to get quoted at 120 and we'd all be like, that's just English tax. But Rice is that good. Obviously, I think he's now the most expensive signing English
British
player
player?
wise.
Yeah,
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 British
English
player.
wise, yeah.
But I'm not mad at that. He's actually probably worth that much. And West Ham, I'm surprised though West Ham were able to get that much because everyone knew Rice was moving. It was never going to be a situation, I think, this season where Rice was not going to move because it was very obvious. Even the owner said it after the final conference league, Rice is going to move this year. And
yeah.
despite that, they managed to get 105 million. But I mean, it seems like Arsenal have the money, don't they now? Which is the scary part. The fact that they spent 105 on Rice and then I feel like slightly overpaid for Havertz, 65. They've got money now, which is not what we said this last year. The one issue Arsenal would have would be they'd miss out on the Declan Rices and they'd go for other players. Like the one that you're linked to right now, Chelsea. What's that midfielder? He's not even that great. There's a
Um,
midfielder you're linked to. He's
Celta, is it
slightly
Celta Vigo
the
guy?
Celta
Is that
Vigo guy. Yeah, that's the type of player I would expect Arsenal to go for because they just wouldn't have the money for like the absolute star signing. But they've done it now, so now it's really worrying for Chelsea. I think especially for Chelsea, seeing things like that happen. Also, I don't understand why Chelsea sold Havertz to a rival. I don't know what that business. It's great you're selling, but I don't get how Havertz ends up at Chelsea. It's beyond me. And it's a good signing again. He's going to get a different position. It seems like everyone's saying he's going to play in the eight. We will see.
I
yeah?
think just
Go on, go for it.
cheers. No, I was just going to jump in on basically what Chavez said about everyone thought Arsenal. Obviously, it proved last season we're going to miss out on the bigger players because they weren't going to spend money. Over the last sort of 10 years, they've never really spent big money. Obviously, you've had the odd one like Nico Pepe and stuff like that. But it was also like I think now the board are looking at it and going, we were close last year. If we just throw a load of money at it in the right places, then we'll be closer or even do it next year and win the league. I think that's where their stance is. They're looking at it going, we nearly won it. Now we can invest, spend more money than we wanted to, but in a year, 2 years time, we'll still be here and potentially win the league. I think that's what their obviously point would
I mean,
be.
I said this last year during their title race. I said if Arsenal want to be like up there, they have to pay these big fees for these big players, these game changers, and like they're going over their wage like barriers, aren't they? Because I think Rice is going to be on 300, Havertz is on 300 plus. It's like these are proper big moves, and I don't think, as you said before, we've seen Arsenal do this in the last decade like this. Like they had dominated transfer windows before with like 50 mil for Ben White and stuff, but this is like another level, isn't it? This
Yeah.
is like
I don't think
100
Wenger
plus.
got this level of support in his time. This type of window never happened for Wenger.
Never, no.
Mm.
And the Havertz one, especially, I do agree with you, Chavez. Us selling, and we're going to talk about Mount as well. Two big players for us to rivals is a bit worrying, but I think out of the two, Havertz was the one I'd be more inclined to sell because I mean we played him as a number nine. It's corrected, we didn't play him in his right position, but he still misses a lot of chances. I'd expect a footballer to at least finish some of what he missed. So if he's going to be playing in the 8, it's going to be like a new role for him. Like, not in the same way because he's obviously much better. But do you remember Joe Linton like kind of changed his role and became like
moved deeper, and then
yeah, I don't know if this is going to be like Havertz is like
Joe Linton season.
Yeah, Joe
I think
Linton,
like Odegaard might have to be a bit deeper. It might just be the same as United, because Havertz can't play 8 on his own. You have to be like up and down the pitch. I don't see Havertz,
it's
especially
quite
off the
slow,
ball.
like
Yeah, he'd be like Ericsson maybe. The issues Ericsson has off the ball, Havertz might face them, but it depends on Odegaard then as well. And obviously, the issue is you've got Rice, who's literally one of the best in the position behind him. So maybe he doesn't even need to be that good off the ball.
But
That
before we
Rice
go on,
signing is
where
incredible.
does that leave Thomas Partey then? Because
I
we
thought he was on his way
Rice
out, was he
coming
not?
in to be Xhaka's run. They still haven't even sold Xhaka yet. Xhaka's still at the club, so do you think Partey will be sold now then, or like who do you
It
bench?
depends. What's the reason for selling Partey? Is it because of the external problems he has? Because
I thought I saw him going to Saudi.
No, but Partey should stay. They need a squad. Why do they need to sell players? This is good. I think this is good if Partey stays because they're in the Champions League now. It's no joke. They'll win every competition, and this year they can't be giving up competitions either. As a big club, you should be going for everything. So I think a Partey staying would be great because it basically what it allows is Rice can then play a lot of players can play different positions, and they're about to get one that plays about 3. Timber, that's another unbelievable signing, I think. And he's not the best player. He's not as good as like Martinez, but he can play 3 different positions: DM, right back, centre back. He can play the John Stones role, which is what everyone thinks he's going to do.
I think they need Is he more of a right back? He's played more right back, hasn't he? Here in Timber and centre back.
I think everyone's just going to try and replicate what Pep's been doing. I think a lot of Timber will play that position. It's like a centre back with a free roam, and it worked. It worked beautifully for City last year, and we'll see a few more teams do it now.
No, of course. I think look, Arsenal looking a bit scary. I'll be the first to say they were scary last year, but kind of big game players. But another quick team I want to very quickly move on to, a player that United were linked with, and I think he's a really top centre back in Europe. Pau Torres going to Aston Villa. That's a big.
Villa did it last. Was it last year's season before with Diego Carlos from Sevilla? Was it last season before?
ACL,
yeah. Again, it was a big chunk of money on a defender, and it's like they've done it again now. But again, if same as like sort of your Brightons and your Newcastle, it's not necessarily spending loads of money. It's buy them right because they've got to play well for 35 games of the 38 game season if they want to be in with a chance.
It's like Emery's reward, isn't it? He did a brilliant job, and now he's got his old centre back. And with United being linked with him, I think we ended up getting a better left-footed centre back. But Pau Torres is top. He's a good player, and he's a good replacement. He's like an upgraded Mings. He's a better Mings, so that's a good signing.
In Europe, there's a good signing for them. That was just very quickly. Let's move on to the Chelsea. So I think probably the most active team in this transfer window in terms of buying and selling players. I want to ask you guys' opinion. We've sold a lot of players to Saudi, to rivals now as well, Kovacic, Mount, and Havertz. What do you lot think? Is it Todd Boehly just ruining this club, or do you see what's going on here? I'm going to start with you, Chavez. What do you think?
So Kovacic, Mount, and Havertz, those signings don't make sense to me. But aside from that, I thought it's actually like a bit of a masterclass in making money. You've sold a lot of players to Saudi as well. You don't need that many players. Your squad was already huge, and you're not in every competition next season. You're not in Europe, so it's not bad. But it depends on how you buy now, because you're all of a sudden now you're quite thin everywhere. So
we've only got Conor Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez.
You'll need to buy now. Ugarte, that's his name. Ugarte. You need I don't know if he's good enough, but you need to buy players, and then it will make sense. Like getting rid of, because it was toxic. You saw like even good players were average in that whatever that squad setting was like, and they're proving it. You've seen the Chelsea players that have left, the posts they're doing, taking the piss out of the club already. I mean, they're just adding to why they probably shouldn't even be at Chelsea. So it's a good thing. I just don't get why you would, it's almost like you're accepting that this year you might not be challenging Man City, Man United. Obviously, you're not going to go for the title, but you still shouldn't as a rule of thumb. Kovacic going to Man City is crazy because it's a perfect replacement for Gundogan, and you've given it to them. Yeah.
Anything to add, Dan, before I say my piece on it?
Yeah, obviously the whole Saudi thing's up for discussion, whether it's linked to the club or whatever.
But that part of it's outstanding. Like it's
Gary Neville thinks it should be looked into, doesn't he?
No, he's just insecure.
There are arguments for and against, obviously, but in terms of players, I agree with what Chavez said. The whole Kovacic transfer was stupid on your behalf. Not only because you've also, not a direct rival, but a top six rival at least. City could well have an off season. This is very unlikely, but they could. But it's also, you're left with your record transfer and a long distance runner in midfield, really, is what you've got now. So you now have to go and spend another large chunk of money to invest in midfield, which is something that you haven't really done probably since 2018. Like bought a large chunk of midfielders, or at least a solid midfielders that you're going to play. Obviously, you bought Enzo, but no one really else. Obviously, Loftus-Cheek's also gone to Milan.
Yeah.
Which again, he's not the best of players, but he's also a body, and it's. I know Poch seemed to utilise the whole team when he was at Spurs. Obviously, PSG, they just win every league against it. Doesn't particularly matter. But it's almost like you're selling your core to get Poch the funds to go and buy the team he wants. But I don't feel you'll be able to go and spend the amount of money to buy the players that he wants, because A, you're a top six club. They'll make you spend more money than you have to. But also B, it will be harder because again you're Poch now. Like clubs are going to go. You've got a good manager. He wants the players. They're his players. We're also going to charge you more on top of that. So I reckon you're only going to be able to get 2 or 3 replacements this season and then build from there. I think Chavez touched on it. It won't be like an instant jump to second or third. It will be a gradual building process. You've also got to have patience.
I said last season at one point that if we have an amazing transfer window, I'd expect top 4, but I didn't expect this number of outgoings. So I'm gonna.
You've still got more to come. Pulisic as well.
Yeah, Pulisic. Ziyech, poor sod's never going to leave the club. That guy's the most unluckiest.
Stuck.
I'm going to retract that. I think I'm agree with you guys. It's going to take a couple windows for Chelsea to be back to where they are. So I think top 4's not going to be realistic at this point, unless we get like Caicedo. If we get Caicedo, we get other big replacements in positions, but I don't see top 4 happening with the number.
That's not embarrassed. Like, I don't think that's something to be embarrassed about. Like, Poch will have a season where he can integrate himself into a squad where he doesn't want a PSG to happen again, where it's just superstars left, right, and centre. Get players that, like, the players you buy now, I really hope Poch, I would assume Poch is involved in getting them. They don't have to be superstar profiles, which is what you've been doing. So hopefully you can develop players for a season. Whatever you get, you get. Like, obviously you don't want to come 12th again, but you get a cup run in here. You don't get a trophy. You don't get top 4. It shouldn't be the end of the world. I really hope you don't sack Poch if that happens.
No,
then it's just rinse and repeat at that point.
I saw a couple of the videos and stuff. That guy's looking like an aura. I'm on board. I'm on the Poch.
You're winning the league already.
Yeah, I saw him getting out that merch, and I was like, yeah, I'm on board. The guy looks like he's on it. He's the manager. But in terms of who we brought in, we've got that Jackson guy from Villarreal. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about him, but he's a young striker. Like, is what it is. Caicedo's the one I definitely want in, and I think Azpilicueta's gone to Atletico as well. So we actually need a new captain. So it's gonna be this is a proper rebuild at Chelsea. Like, I don't think.
Okay, question for you: who do you think should be the next captain of Chelsea?
That's a very, very interesting question. Thiago Silva. Definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then long term, because Thiago Silva's not going to be about forever, just like the rest of the human race.
In terms of long term, it's tough to say, but Reece James is proper Chelsea, and even with that Arsenal, even more. So I can see him in the future being a Chelsea captain. Maybe if I don't know, it's not Mount was captain quality, like he had potential, but he's not Chelsea anymore. So yeah.
Well, more importantly, he's here.
I'm really happy that it was so shameless of them not to do that Arsenal bid at Kepa's wedding, by the way. That was absolutely shameless.
It was funny, but I do get now, I see the point. Like, if a Man United player's doing that, then why are they even at Man United? It's a good thing they got sold, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm happy Havertz is gone, guy. That guy's dead food.
To be honest, these players, they don't understand. They're missing out on an opportunity because Pochettino, he seems like a good manager to work under if you want to develop your career. I know he didn't end up with a trophy at Tottenham, but a lot of players can thank him for what he gave them, and a lot of them developed individually. So maybe it would have been good for them, but they'll never know now, and we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah, good riddance. And you said Pulisic will go soon, so yeah, Leon or something sniffing. Let's move on to very quickly Man City. They got Kovacic. You guys can add on who else they've got in, but they look like
Guardiola is someone they're about to get 100 mil.
They don't need the players, really, do
they? They don't need Guardiola.
They're just signing players just because they can. They're bored on career mode and going, they've developed well. I'll take them. Oh, they're doing all right. I'll
Where
take
does he
them.
play? Like, who does he replace? Like,
He'll play the
It's
he'll
for
play
the
Ake.
left-sided
It'll be
centre
Ake.
back position.
so they're gonna go through the back then because Ruben Diaz is unreplaceable. Like, John Stones is irreplaceable.
He'll
Who
be,
can
I don't.
Andrew?
We was talking to like Nick about it the other day about like they were a City fan, and he was like they don't play with wing backs. They started in the wing back position. They just didn't play with wing backs. They all just condensed or moved. Like Stones moved up into midfield during the game and stuff like that. But they don't need any more players. They're just buying them for the sake of almost trying to literally build a god squad. Like they don't. They'll be
the quadruple now. No, that's
yeah.
football. They go the
But they should have won it last season. Like they shouldn't have lost to Southampton, really, should they?
Yeah, Southampton stopped the quadruple.
What a team? Yeah, Man City's Man City. I mean, we haven't really spoken since they won the treble. Chavez, how do you feel they won?
I want to see them improve. They've actually got some talent in their like youth academy. It'd be really nice to see. Like Rico Lewis looks like a good player. They've got that Palmer guy. He does a job when he comes on. And Julian Alvarez is a very interesting one because he's actually a very good footballer. Like he starts for Man United, he starts for Arsenal, he starts for Chelsea.
I take it with 2 hands.
But these guys, they don't like. It's never an issue, is it? I mean, if you're winning trebles, I guess it's not an issue. But he's such a good player. I wonder if he'd reconsider in a year's time or something because Haaland is not being replaced. It's Haaland, but apparently not. Apparently not. So no one even talks about him.
I was going to say it's not his fault that he's not. He would probably start for most other clubs, if not all other clubs in the world, bar.
Unless you're Tottenham, maybe because Kane. But even Alvarez can play in right wing.
He can play on the wing, yeah. So,
yeah,
but again, if you look out on the wing, they've got Grealish and Foden on one side. Question marks about Mahrez still being there, so he could be on the right, but that's not really his like bread and butter, is it? So it's not his.
By the way, Kovacic, brilliant transfer. Like you can just imagine him in the City midfield. He's just going to fit in like a jigsaw puzzle. Good for him as well. Good move to go to a club that's probably guaranteed trophies this late in his. How old is he now? Is he about 30?
Does he need more trophies? He's won like 3 Champions Leagues with Real.
This is just going to cement his legacy even further. Like he'll just add to his trophies. And Gundogan was such a big part of it last year. Maybe Kovacic will have like a.
He has got big shoes to fill. He has got big shoes to fill. To be fair, because City fans grew to love Gundogan towards the end of his career more than they did already. Obviously, with his 2 goals in the final day 2 years ago and stuff like that.
Gundogan was great this year, especially this year, even now.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think that's good with City. United now. Big one, of course, Chavez. Mason Mount is a United player. Apparently, you got the best midfield in the world with Casemiro, Bruno, and Mason Mount. Do you agree with this statement? Or
well, it depends on what you want your midfield to do. Off the ball, I think we're going to be absolutely outstanding and unplayable. One thing I would say is there's a misconception on Ten Hag's football. Everyone wanted that first pick. Even I will admit I wanted Frankie de Jong or Barella. Players that can play in the first phase and progress the ball. But Mount can do it. Mount can progress the ball. He's just not as technically proficient as, I guess, what we needed. But at the same time, that was Ajax. And it's not necessarily Ten Hag football. Ten Hag can adjust that with Mount. He's wanted him for a while. I mean, I just trust him. It's a point of just trusting your manager. He wanted him since he was at Vitesse. And yeah, Mount at his best is good. 55 million is fair, I guess. I would have preferred it to be 45 million or 40, but I mean, it's not my money. It's the Glazers' money at this point, so who cares? And yeah, it's just more depression right now around the fact that we still haven't changed ownership because I really think it's affecting our season. I mean, our players just walked in. Today's Monday, and they just walked in, and it was the same players. It's Van den Beek's back. Dean Henderson's back, had a great training session today. These players should have been sold while we had new players coming in, and it's not happening. Everything's just slowed down right now because of the ownership. And yeah, the other thing I was going to say is Onana. Oh, I would do anything, an arm and a limb to have him, but we don't know if we have the money for that either yet. So it's just a case of changing
the situation. With us, I think it's looking like Kepa's going to be on number 1. With you guys, I heard you gave De Gea a contract, then you retracted it. You offered him less money. Do you think he's going, or Onana's going to be your man?
So our club is doing a very disrespectful thing right now. Where, well, first of all, they don't trust themselves. So they offered De Gea a contract that it was reduced. De Gea accepted the contract, and obviously Ten Hag then vetoed it and said no, which is fair. But at the same time, that's miscommunication. Like the club wants De Gea and Ten Hag doesn't. It shows that they're not aligned at all in what they want in the future. But also now the club's keeping De Gea around because just in case they don't get Onana or they aren't capable of doing it because they don't trust their own abilities and transfers, then De Gea's at least there sticking around so we can get him on a reduced contract. That's what's happening right now. And De Gea's loyalty for the club is the only reason right now keeping him here because At any second, he could just go to Saudi. He could do it right now, but I think he's just being loyal and he wants to stay. He's settled in Manchester. So I really do hope we get Onana. If we don't, then I don't care if we sign Mbappe. I don't care if we sign Messi. I don't care who we get. The team, it starts from the goalkeeper, and I mean, you're seeing it now. People are spending their life. It's really sad, but you're seeing a lot of mistakes, De Gea mistakes on every social media. You'll see a failed compilation. You'll see a compilation about Aaron Lennon's goal in 2007, and De Gea will be in it somehow. This is the level of mistakes that De Gea has been involved in for us, and we just need him gone now. If there's one more season with De Gea, I don't even know. There one other player I was going to talk about, Mason Greenwood. I'm just going to tell you the future right now. I'll come back from the future. If you're a player like Mason Greenwood right now, who is got everyone against him, no one wants him back really. I think Man United, what we're going to do, and it's perfect for him and for the situation. I think we will loan him to Roma. And if there's one manager you want in that first press conference to defend a player or to defuse a situation or to retract from a situation or to take the piss out of a situation, or to just make you forget about it, it's Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho will give the first press conference ever regarding Mason Greenwood, and he will completely shut it down. It's perfect for Greenwood. I think he's genuinely going to go off to Italy for a year.
Is that a concrete rumor that Roma are after him?
I really believe it will happen. I don't see any other manager having to deal with that, because the questioning is going to be, it's going to be extraordinary, that first press conference when he comes back, and there's no one better than Mourinho to deal with it, and it makes sense. So we'll see.
Just to touch on. Oh, so I was just going to keep on at United. Obviously, you touched in and you said, I like players like Van der Beek and Henderson are there. Obviously, with all of this stuff about a potential takeover, do you think other clubs are sitting there and going, we'll give it a couple of weeks? Because obviously we saw it with when Bowley took over at Chelsea. It wasn't almost like a fire sale, but they were getting rid of players to get money back in, to sign other players. Obviously, you're talking if like they come in, you're going to play players like Mbappe and stuff like that. Do you think a club might be looking at, for example, Van der Beek and go, I'll give it a month. If the new owners take over, we might get him for half the price, potentially. That could also be that. I think that could be feasible.
No, because we've already sold a couple of players, and it's been for embarrassing prices. So Zidane Iqbal is one thing about Zidane Iqbal is we don't know how good he is, but he's a very rare profile in the sense that he's the drop the shoulder first phase player, which there's not many in world football who do that to a high level, and he can do it. We sold him for less than $1 million to, I think it was Holland club, which is stupid. He's at least 10 to 15 million. And then we sold Ethan Laird, who was a promising right back, again for less than $1 million. We don't know how to sell either, and the prices that get quoted are so stupid for some of the players. So if you want a player from us, it's actually not. I mean, I'm worried about how much we could actually sell Martial for. Like, we could genuinely be looking at 10 to 15 million when he should be more. I don't care what people think, but
he's worth that much.
But he's not 10 to 15 million. I mean, any other club has Martial, and a bigger club's going in is 40 million. So I think at least 30 million for him, but we don't have to sell either. So teams should capitalize on us. Elanga's available. You should really be going in. If you're in the Championship right now, or a lower Premier League team, you should be going for these players. But they're here still.
Very quickly on Mason Mount before we go, I just want to ask a Chelsea-related question. Who has had a better career for Chelsea, Ruben Loftus-Cheek or Mason Mount? Who do you guys think?
Mount.
Yeah, a lot of.
Well, yeah, because he got an assist in the Champions League final.
He's been more consistent in the team.
Loftus-Cheek.
I like Loftus-Cheek as a player, but again, he's not Chelsea standard. It's hard to see what a player's role is when they get thrown around the team because your lack of midfielders, and then obviously, but then obviously when they get thrown in, it's in the deep end because you're a club at Chelsea and you have to be on your game. Like, whereas you look at Gallagher's consistently playing, but quite a lot of Chelsea fans still clown him, as I said earlier, long distance runner as opposed to a footballer. It's like you have to be on your level.
I take a Gallagher over Havertz any day of the week because
how far does passion get you?
Passion, you got to get the club you support as well, isn't it? Like the club you're playing at. Sorry.
But how far does it get you? Almost like you can't have a team full of passion merchants.
But I'd take Gallagher over Havertz in terms of that. If he gets it, he gets it, innit? He probably was performing better than Havertz by the end of the season. I think the latter part. I think Gallagher was performing better. I know he runs like a headless chicken and stuff, but
you just want a player who just wants to be there.
Yeah, I don't want Havertz. Mason Mount, I reckon is the.
Won't you be heartbroken if Havertz he'll fit into an incredibly well-oiled system right now in Arsenal?
Probably will. We've lost players like Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah. I know they weren't at the peak of their power.
I feel like it's waiting to happen because I don't question Arteta anymore. Whoever he goes for, I don't question it because he's brought back players from the dead. So he can do it to this one as well. This one's not even that hard. It won't be that surprising when it happens.
Newcastle very, very quickly. Tonali is signed for them. Crazy.
They've got the
That's
money now, haven't
yeah, good signing.
50 something million. But I think they should have got Madison. I'm surprised at Madison's decision to go to Tottenham. I don't know what attracted him. I mean, the Celtic fans really big up that new manager, but it's Eddie Howe. It's Saudi Arabia. Like, come on.
I agree with you. I've heard a lot about the new Spurs manager. People are just having this feeling. They're saying it's different. We're moving on to Spurs now. I mean, they've got Madison, which I think is a great signing for around 40 million.
Solomon.
That Solomon guy who was at Fulham, I know he had a couple contributions. And Kane staying. If Kane stays for them at this point, I mean, that's like a whole new signing every season, isn't it?
Yeah, every season.
So what do you think? Kane staying then? Is he the loser? Because I heard he bought a property near Chelsea and everyone was getting all happy
it's
about
London,
that.
It doesn't really matter.
I think he's just going into the market post-career.
Yeah.
Post-career property.
I think it's a case of Kane's looked at it. We've got a new manager. We've got a player like Madison who will get him.
How many times has he done that though?
Well, no, I know, but like obviously, you look at the previous, like Nuno, for example, or the interim manager, like Brian Mason. They're not, but like Postecoglou, obviously, yes, it's a Celtic, and there's a whole argument about the Celtic thing, but he has won trophies. But yeah,
Mourinho won trophies. Antonio Conte won trophies.
Yeah, but it's again with his Spurs. But he's probably he doesn't need to leave Tottenham. We say it every season. Kane does not need to leave Tottenham. He doesn't even. He doesn't need to leave the country.
For his career. For his career, he does. What do you mean he doesn't need to?
He's loved there. He's the captain. If he goes, I'm going to go to Chelsea, for example, as you just said, he's bought property over there. No, but as in he'd go. Levy would probably go, how much are they paying you over there? 400 grand? All right, I'll give you 450. Because he know if Tottenham didn't have Kane, they would probably finish about 13th in the table.
Yeah, they would.
They would not be anywhere near even the Europa Conference that they qualified for. They would have been like mid of the bottom of the table.
But you're going to risk
comfortably
letting him leave on a free if he doesn't sign a new contract next season.
If he gets into the Champions League, it's another load of money. It's probably a risk that Levy's willing to take. It also didn't cost him anything. It's also something you've got to remember. Yes, there's potential loss for income for selling him, but for example, Havertz, if you would have signed him for 72 million and let him go on a free transfer next season, you would have lost out on 72 million. Whereas you sold him for Arsenal for 65, was it? So it's only cost you 7 million over what, 3-4 years to have him?
And the Champions League trophy. So
yeah, but again, like just the pricing, that's not actually cost you that much over 7 million over what, 3-4 years. It's like $1 million and a bit a year. It's nothing in terms of football. Whereas obviously they've spent nothing on him. Obviously they've nurtured him and trained him and whatever. But
would you not want to cash out as much as possible to get 2 or 3?
Who are Spurs going to get that's the same quality as Kane? That would go.
It's like the same with West Ham. They're never going to get anyone the same quality as Rice, but you get 2 or 3 players that
happened. It could be a fear because you look at last time when they sold Bayer and bought in like 14 players.
Yeah, obviously they don't do that, but they won't be able to do that in this window. But like 2 quality, not quality, but good players, obviously not on Kane's level, would be more they need. They need centre back because they definitely need a goalkeeper as well. Well, did they know they signed someone, didn't they, from Italy?
That's also the thing. With their defence they've got, Kane still pulls them over the line. If they sell Kane and they've got a bad defence, they're not scoring goals and they're letting in 4 goals a game. That's where their issue lies. Whereas they're letting in 2 or 3 goals a game and Kane's still scoring or getting assists with Son and Kulusevski.
I think unless they're getting like Mbappe to replace Kane, I'd be very worried as a Tottenham fan going into a season without Harry Kane because they don't even know what that's like. And it would just be a scary proposition. And it's not like there's no one in the world who thinks Harry Kane in any shape or form or way is holding Tottenham back. It's quite clearly him who carries the team.
He is Tottenham.
They would be screwed without him. They'd be screwed.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bonus for him. And very, very last one before we wrap this up. Mbappe, is he staying this season or do you think they're going to offload him? Because he'd be on a free at this point next season, wouldn't he?
Gentleman's agreement. I think the conclusion will be that Mbappe will sign a new contract, but he'll have a verbal agreement to leave next year. And I don't know how verbal agreements work, how legally binding they are, but that would make sense. Or else,
didn't work for Harry Kane.
It didn't work for Kane, but Kane's insert a rude word. Like Mbappe, he can't leave now. I can't see that happening. It's too big a transfer, and Real Madrid have already splashed on Jude Bellingham. Like I don't know. And the only other club capable of buying him, I think, is Man United, and we don't have the right ownership.
I think we could buy him.
Yeah, but no, he's not going to come to you. Mbappe has to play in the Champions League. That's the thing.
Yeah,
another
that's
thing.
true. He's in.
Mm.
He had trials at us, so we didn't take him. But yeah, he was like 14. But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up, isn't it? A lot has happened so far. We're gonna can obviously try and do this as often as possible. Kind of keep updated. I'm sure more movement's going to happen. United, Chelsea, your ownership, Arsenal as well, and yeah, keep updated. So thanks for listening, guys.